So every year I get this question, do you still need a record label in the current year? So I'm going to demystify whether you need one, whether you should consider getting one, or carry on going independent. The very first thing is, overall, I honestly do not think you need a record label to make it in the music industry in 2023, primarily because of how the record label system started and its lack of ability to change. What do I mean by this? When they made the record labels back in who knows when, they decided that we're basically going to sponsor musicians to make music and we are going to make money off of them. Basically, musicians would now be employees, and then they would make us products and we'll give them a little bit of the money from that product. Now, back in the 90s, basically it was possible to do this because it was impossible for musicians to make their own music themselves, promote it themselves, and get traction themselves. Currently, there are a lot of examples of people that are making a living off of music without a record label. Now, we can go through a slew of lots of artists, but what this basically means is if you have access to the internet, access to a device that can record anything like a camera, like a phone, like a computer, and have some form of marketing ability, you are able to keep on being a musician almost full time. What do I mean by this? Most people, when they think musician, they think of blowing up and becoming the next Casper Invest or the next Migos, for example. But honestly speaking, all you really need is to be able to live off your music, and then you can progress and keep on progressing. The way music is structured, there are multiple ways to make money off of music, whether you're on the teaching side or the business side or the actual performance side. There are lots of ways to make money off of your music. So you do not need a record label. But this is primarily if you have those three things that I mentioned: a recording device, access to the internet, and some form of musical talent. If you have no musical talent, you can still make it. I'm sure we all know a few artists that you don't think are somewhat talented but still make it. But you need access to the internet and you need access to a phone or a recording device. With the internet, you have to leverage the internet, and the only way you do this is by having some form of money, unfortunately, to buy the data to get your music out and about. Networking really helps in getting your music around, because if you look at how Spotify is structured, playlists, user-generated playlists, really trigger the algorithm to get you onto the Spotify type of playlists, the official ones. So you need to be on these platforms, using them and understanding how these platforms work in order to leverage them and get the most out of these platforms and progress your music career. But overall, I do not think you need a record label in 2023 or for the last 10 years actually. But if you want to know how many streams you need to make 1,000 Rand, watch this video.